Hey everybody, welcome to the correct live stream. Sorry about that. I actually pressed the go live button incorrectly when I first started the stream, and I was streaming by myself over there. So hey, sorry about that. We're here. I'll restate what I said before. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a quick overview of how DiceCon went. I got a little bit of a picture collage here to start off with some fun stuff. We'll get into the money things later on, of course. You know, we're going to talk about money and how it all went, but let me give you some of the fluffer nutter, I guess, as it were, and we'll do that first. So I'll share some pictures with you of the event that were taken by a bunch of folks at the event. These are not all taken by me. I'll give you some of them were mine. I'll let you know where my pictures were, but I'm not a very good picture taker. So I told Jeremy, he and I were both in a lot of pictures, but didn't take a lot of pictures. So here we go. Yo, cocktails and craps. I'm not drinking whiskey tonight. I'm still feeling like crap. So I'm actually working the tea right now. So I'm sorry, but I can't call this show Tea and Craps. But I'm working on some tea because I still am not quite right yet. Anyway, here's the first picture, which is, again, these are going to be random pictures just so we can kind of see what's happening here. Here's a picture of the Circa. If you've never been here, the Circa is on Fremont Street. Now, Fremont Street is where all the old Vegas, quote unquote, old Vegas casinos are. They're small. This place is enormous. This is like a strip style casino in the heart of Fremont Street. That Stadium Swim, those screens, that's like football stadium size screen. Inside the screen that I looked at it's a 2-story tall sports book, and the screens are literally 2 stories tall. Excuse me, the biggest thing I've ever seen. It's actually really, really cool. The Circa is a neat place to visit. I'm not sure it's the best place to play. Here's a picture of the opening event at Casino Quest. You can see I'm there in the back. I know it's kind of hard to see here, but in the back, I'm the bald guy, of course, in the back talking to somebody. We were warming up in here. We had 80-something people show up to the opening event. Got a chance to mingle and talk to everybody. I was rolling down here for about, 50 minutes. I had to handle the dice for, it had to be 60 rolls. I mean, I'm going to say it was 100, but it was a lot of rolls. I started with $1,000. I worked it to like $19,000. David dealt me, which was fantastic, to sit there and like bet enormous amounts of money in front of David and have him kind of correct. And I let it slip that I want to be a dealer. And he was giving me all these great dealer tips while I'm throwing. It was awesome. Jeremy iced me. In the middle of my monster roll here, Jeremy hit the microphone and said, "Hey, announcement." And he made like 5 minutes of announcements. And of course, immediately when we came back from that, I 7'd out. He iced me completely, but it was still a fun session. That was a great chance to kind of mingle and meet and exchange chips. I'll show you some of the chips that I got in the exchange piece of that here in a bit. This is a weird picture. This is my family. It's weird, like it's all blurry and like kind of wide. It's just a weird view, but that's Kathy and Allie and me. My son is to the left, and you can't see him or my sister-in-law. Here's one of our members, Mo or Roy. Here is us at the Flamingo. I'm waiting to get on this table. In the back there is Jacob from Waging Me This. He's about to get on this table as well. That was not one of my best sessions, I can tell you that. But that was a fun night, fun place to be for sure. Weird looking felt there, I thought. That was very distracting, that weird design they got. There's the man. There's Jeremy. Looks like he's having a little selfie at dinner time right there. Here's Jim, the professor. If you know Jim from Color Up's community, Jim is fantastic. He's one of the best people in the community, and is an even better person in person. So Jim, you're the man. Loved hanging out with you guys. You're an awesome dude. Let's see who else we here. This is the swag bag. So Jeremy gave everybody who was there a swag bag, and I'll show you part of what was in it. I can't show you all of it. Yeah, Dr. S Casino Quest is the wrong. I'll tell you what, the funny thing about this 60 roller, I'll get back to the swags in a minute, is this. I was on that 60 roller and I was crushing it. I was throwing the chopper, which everybody got to see. Finally, if you were at Casino Quest, you saw me throw the chopper. If you were at the tables, you saw me throw the chopper, and now you know what I'm talking about when I say how I throw it. The problem with throwing a 60 roller at Casino Quest is that everybody wants to follow you around and be like, "Oh God, John's going to throw 60s all the time." It don't work that way, as you know. I put more pressure on myself by doing that, I guess. But there it is. Dr. S wants to know if I caught the Rona. I don't know. it's a chest cold right now. I think it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, and that Cajun guy, I may just need some hair of the dog to feel better. We'll see. But anyway, the swag bags were great. Jeremy put a lot of time and effort into this thing. So basically, we all paid $32 to go to DiceCon. DiceCon costs you $32 to go there, and you got 6 hours at Casino Quest, which is $20 an hour, and you got this bag of stuff, which was great, and to hang out. So value for dollar, over the top, absolutely. Let's see, here is Jeremy posing his hat over the city. I'm guessing that's up top of the Strat. Here is the dice control seminar that I did with Michael Feldman. This was one of the things I was looking the most forward to, was doing this session with Michael. He's a Golden Touch instructor. It would have been great to have been able to see him demonstrate all the things. We could ask all the questions. It was going to be great. However, the Circa reneged on their deal, which means we couldn't use the table. We could be around the table, near the table, but we couldn't, like, besides leaning on it, touch the table. We couldn't get our hands below the surface. We couldn't let anything touch this. We couldn't let anything touch the felt. They were supposed to lower the music for us and give us full access. We got none of that. And in fact, the music was cranked up to where we couldn't even hear each other. So whether that was on purpose or not, but they were, and the boss who was talking to us, who was giving us all the new rules, was a real dickhead. So that was not a great experience, unfortunately. Michael did field every question, positive, negative. He spent more than enough time. I think he spent an extra hour above and beyond what we had scheduled him for, with every single person there asking questions and diving in. So he was a great sport about the whole thing. And it was unfortunate that we couldn't hear, and just, it is what it is, right? Sometimes casinos do what casinos do for casino reasons. We don't know what that always is. This next picture here is from Binion's. This is, I believe, I'm not sure if he's in this shot or not, but Jeremy from Color Up had this monster 47 roller here at Binion's. I was on the other table at the time. They were hooting and hollering and having a great time. That was a hell of a fun day. I'll give you more on the Binion's excursion later, but that was a picture of Jeremy's big roll. And this, I believe, is the Sahara. This is the Sahara. And again, there was 2 tables at the Sahara. Again, I was on what they called the slaughter table, which means everybody got slaughtered. And Jeremy was on this other table where everybody won a bunch. So that was cool. JR says 25K plaques under the shield. Yes, I'm going to go back to that picture if I can do it. Where is it? I went in and got, oh, shoot, hold on. Let me try and get back to that picture again. Because that was the thing I took a picture of. You can't see it there. But yeah, under the shield where the money was at the Circa, they had $25,000 plaques in there. So they wouldn't let us take any photography. So I tried to get a picture, no dice. But yeah, that was super cool to see those in person. Like, wow, that's actually a thing. So life goals, right? And here again is the Sahara. Once again, and I think the last couple of pictures, here's me along with Carl, my co-trip Carl, and Buckeye Slim. Buckeye Slim was running stick at this point. That is Holy Roller on the left of Buckeye, and that is Ronnie from Casino Quest. He started dealing. I rolled so long, I tired him out, and they called David in because the bets got so big. It was like, hey, we need a pro, and here comes David to help us out. That was hella fun. That was such a fun night there. That was worth the flight to Vegas, just hanging out with everybody that night, for sure. Here's No Shoes Ken on Fremont Street, taking a selfie in front of the D. And again, Holy Roller again. Again, these are pictures that folks sent me from their phones to post up here. And here's me with Patty. I think that's the last picture I've got for you. So with that said, let's get in. And we'll talk about, I guess, some other stuff here, right? So let's get my camera going. There we go. Now you can see me. And I'm sporting the Color Up gear as well here. So we'll get things started with kind of the family. So this was, for me, a family trip, right? Obviously, we're there to play craps, right? But I brought my family, my wife, Kathy, my daughter, Allie. There's me. Again, I'm not a selfie taker, so I cut my face off. It's just the way it is. My son, Zach, flew in on Monday in the morning, and my sister-in-law flew in Sunday night. There was 5 of us there for the weekend, and we did a bunch of really cool stuff. I think I detailed that in the dailies here coming up here, but we did a lot of fun family things as well as all the crap stuff that we did, and it was just cool to have them here and experience what we know to be true, which is this community is awesome, right? Well, my wife couldn't believe the amount of vigor people had on this thing. She's like, my God, these people are so into it. I can't believe just how cool this is, you know? So it was really a neat experience for them to kind of see our world, you know, because my wife and daughter don't care about craps. They don't see what I'm doing down here in the basement. To them, it's just like, it's John's little hobby, but it's a lot bigger than that. It was really, really, really cool to have them there, for sure. So how did I play? Here's what we did. I'm actually gonna turn my camera off because I want you to see some of these pictures here that I've got, because I think the pictures tell some of the stories. So how did I play? First things first, I came out there with a $5,000 bankroll. And my intention was, my thinking was, I'm gonna probably play about 10 times. And worst case scenario, I burn $500 10 times, the 5K is gonna last me. I only actually dipped in 1 time. So I planned for $500 buy-ins, 10 times. You'll see here coming up only 1 time that I have to go to a second $500. I worked that first $500 pretty much the entire 4 days. I actually played about 20 sessions on $500. I kept that money rolling the whole time, which was great. My strategy was this, on everybody but myself, pretty consistently, I played don't pass with the field on the come out roll. I did a parlay press on both. So if the field hit, I parlayed it. If the parlay would hit, I leave it at the level 2 and pull back the profit. And I kept working that parlay ladder that I do on both the don't and the field on the come out. I would always end up with a 2-to-1 ratio for the horsemen. So on the $5 tables, I was at $15 or $10 or whatever it was on the don't pass, at least 2-to-1 for my come bets. On the $25 tables, I was at 50, which was painful, but you have to do that sometimes to kind of get that. You don't have a lot of choice. But that was my basic plan, was a don't pass field parlay. And I played the don't pass in the field as a separate entity from the come bets. I know the horseman gets a bad rap because it's kind of a hybrid, but the way that I play it is I play it as a don't strategy, working those bets one way, and I work the come bets and the place bets as a separate thing. And I pounded it pretty hard, and we did really, really well. When I on myself when I was throwing, except for one time when I did not have a good feel for the table, I always bet pass line. I bet the bonus on myself. I go 88 inside, and I do a $22 press, and I roll it up. And what I do is I do a 22 perpetual press until I get a number that's rolling. And in one case, I rolled like 4 or 5 9s. I started pressing the 9 only to get more juice on that one, and it seemed to work out for me. On the stadium craps, different story. And the stadium craps, I've got a picture of it here for you. The stadium craps is my new obsession. I'm telling you, this thing is fantastic. I don't like the fact there's one dealer. You know how I feel about the jobs, right? I'm a huge, conservative economic guy, and I don't like when jobs get taken. However, and that's why I hated roll to win. This thing has got still one dealer, so it is sucking away a couple of jobs. However, the vibe around this thing is fun. Everybody can see you, right? You're in the middle of the group of like, I think 12 or 15, whatever it is, of those little betting screens. Everybody's into it. I would hit a point, I would run around the outside of that thing and high five everybody and come running back, and people were going nuts. It was a completely great vibe. It was really, really cool. That table's 8 feet long and 3 feet wide. It's almost like you can drop them on the back wall, just reaching out. And they don't really care how far you reach out. As long as you hit the back wall, they don't care. Love this thing. The other thing about this setup here was that it was a $5 minimum action table, which means it wasn't every bet $5. It was, you could bet $1. I was betting $6 across on this thing. It wasn't dollar minimum, it was just $5 total actions. And I could have bet, 4 hard ways for $1 each and $1 come bet, and it would have been fine. It doesn't care. $5 total. So what I did when I realized that, I turned my stadium craps play into testing time. I'm like, I'm just gonna fart around on this thing and drop $100 in there and just try every strategy that we talk about on our show for $1, because who cares, right? And I did a bunch of laddering, I did a bunch of the soldier, I did a bunch of random shit on this thing. If I had focused, I could have won $1,000 because everybody's rolling great. That thing, I think the average person was rolling 15 times. It seemed like everybody had a 10 or 15 roller because it's so light action on the dice there. It was great. I had so much fun there. But yeah, I basically kind of blew my chance to make money on it because I wanted to try shit out because it was cheap. Love that table. That's going to become a thing. This Stadium Craps, South Maui is asking, this was at Planet Hollywood. I heard tale that there was also one at Harrah's, but I couldn't confirm that. I was at Planet Hollywood. This was there. So this was wickedly cool. I'm obsessed with it. My son was really obsessed with this thing because Zach's a super low roller. He's a fresh out of college guy. He's not making a ton of money. So for him, this was right in his budget. And he played this like 24 hours. And if you think about it, you're playing $6 across and they're bringing you your quote unquote free alcohol. For $6, you're just drinking like less than slot machine money. Like it was great. What a great thing. So that was my plan, was $500 per session for 10 sessions at the tables and $100 here at the Stadium Crap. So that was the plan that I went out with. So let's take a look at how we did each time. Okay. So we got there Saturday. I obviously went right to playing, and on Saturday, I broke my own rule and I played crapless. I had Louis asking, the stadium table is 8 feet long. It's probably a little less than that. I think it's about 7 feet long. I could reach out and reach about halfway down the table. If I leaned forward, I was about halfway there. That's literally how low it is. And Canadian Dice Club, let me go back a screen so you can see the picture of it again. Canadian Dice Club is asking, you have to stand straight out. You stand at the end. I'm pointing to it, but the end there, you got to stand at the end. So if you're going to be a controller, you're going to do the backhand toss or some other thing like that. But yeah, you got to be at the end. You can stand sideways at the end. You can get at the hook if you want to, but as long as you hit the back wall, they really don't care. I think to me, it felt less than 8 feet, but I know that's what they say the dimensions are. All right, so on Saturday, we get there, and we had a couple things that were planned on Saturday. So we got checked into the hotel, and I think it was, what time was it? I think we got into town around 3 or 4 o'clock. We ate, of course, because we were all starving, and then we went. I went and played craps right away, and I hooked up with G-Dub, Gary, and we went to. He came over to my hotel, and all that was open for us was crapless. Now, Planet Hollywood kept doing this, where all they had open was crapless at certain times of the day. So whatever. I mean, I wanted to play. It was a $25 crapless table, and I'm like, well, Gary walked over here. I'm not going to not play. So we played crapless, and I just did the Soldier, Wayland Soldier, and I had a 9 roller there, which worked. I actually got all the way across once and almost all the way back. I got across and back on myself, and I got almost across on somebody else. I think I won a couple $100 on that table. No, it wasn't bad. I really like the tables at Planet Hollywood. All those properties, the Hollywood, Paris, those tables were very fair. They were hard surface. They were good. They were good surfaces. The doers were great. No complaints other than the fact that it was high minimum and it was crapless, obviously. I went to the Stadium Craps to try it out. Had no idea what I was doing. I won the $64 before or whatever I won there, $50 before I realized that it was the $1 or the $5 max or a $5 minimum action. I was playing it like a $5 table before I realized it, and then I changed my vision on it. I started what I called the 2 tickets to paradise at that session. I bought 2 tickets, one for $64, one for $100. The $64 was to be my YOLO ticket. So I'm going to go 64 across, take 1 hit, and pull the ticket out of the machine. Put the other ticket back in the machine and play for real. That's what I was doing at that table the whole time I was there. I had a 19 roller out of the gate and did really good with that. And then Ali and I went to the Stratosphere, and you can see the pictures here. That's the picture I took from the top of the Strat, which is amazing. The picture down below is the ride that she and I went on. It was so windy that night. I couldn't even believe how windy it was. We did this ride that leads you over the edge, and it kind of shoots out. If you've ever seen the video on this thing, it's called the X Scream. It was stupid. It was the dumbest thing. it feels like you're going off the edge of that building. So we did that. It was crazy town, but it was fun. And then we came back and I went and Planet Hollywood. We got back at about, I guess, I don't know, midnight or so. We had a late dinner because we were still on weird time. And then I played craps again, normal craps at about 3 o'clock in the morning at a $15 table, and I won a few bucks. The horsemen did okay. As you can see, I got a quick field progression. On the come out, it was like I don't know, I think it was a come out like 2, a 3, and I parlayed one of them, and I was out of there really pretty quick. My roll was 12, but I did nothing with it. It was one of those, I bet the inside, and I was rolling 4s and 11s and everything else, and it was a good roll, but I made no money on myself. Good first day, though. Came out ahead on all counts there. It was pretty cool. Let's see. So what else? What happened next? Next was Sunday. Sunday was I went to Paris in the morning. Paris was a really short walk for me. It was like a 2-minute walk. I played with G-Dub and Buddha. I played the horseman again most of the day. On my roll, I rolled 9 and I was able to press my 88 inside up to 160 across. But I didn't pull it. I was one of those, now that I'm at the green level, I'm going to get one green chip and then come down was my plan there. Back down to base and then work myself back up. That's when I 7'd out. So I got to where I wanted to in this one roll too late. G-Dub had a great roll that we were on. And he was rolling in his zone. He was like really good, like really, really smooth shooter. And he was kind of like, do I say this right? He was in his zone. He was really doing well. But then at the end of it, he rolled a 2 and an 11 and then a 3, I think. And it was like weird because he was all inside the box and he went 3 straight horn numbers. And I thought to myself, again, if you're a dice influence believer or not, my thought was, oh shit, his mechanics are off. Something, he's getting tired or his mechanics changed or something changed. I should turn my bets off, was what I said to myself in my head. And you all know what happened next. He 7'd out on the very next roll. So that was unfortunate. 2 mistakes made on that table that cost me profit. I ended up losing a little bit there, and I should have walked away with about $300 in profit. Instead, I lost 75 because I didn't pull out when I should have pulled out. Both circumstances were dumb mistakes, right? Anyway, that's lesson learned, right? When you get the feeling and your strategy worked to a point, you got to get out, right? And that's the thing. That table had the most annoying player I've ever played with. This woman was hopping everything, and she was like string betting her hops, and she was like, wait until you had the dice in your hand, and she would like yell out, high, low, and hop the hard 10 and all kind of crazy shit. And she burned through at least $1,000 in $25 chips, hopping random things at random times, and loud and obnoxious, and oh my God, so freaking annoying. It was awful. Anyway, then we went to the Flamingo. We had lunch with some subscribers. I came out to the table. I had one roll, which was a PSO, and Jacob was on that one. He was there at the table. He had some money out there, and I shot from the don't on that day. I went to the don't because the table, I hadn't shot on it yet, right? I always go from the don't on my first roll, and I'm like, I'm warning you, and they all bet on me, and I PSO'd like I thought I would. Bummer for them. Sorry, not sorry. I warned you, and I think. If I wouldn't have started myself on the inside, it would have been okay. If I would have just done straight horseman instead of don't pass with inside betting, we would have been fine. But I screwed that up, and I also missed out on a really long roll there. I was talking to somebody else, and somebody went off on a 30 or 40 roller, 30 plus roller, and I was too busy BSing to get in on it. So that happened to me quite a lot this weekend. At Casino Quest, I crushed it. Of course, had the giant roller dealt by David. That was great. That was a fantastic 3.5, 4 hour night there. It was freaking awesome. Came back to Planet Hollywood. I played Stadium that night. Hit the YOLO a second time. And my second ticket to Paradise of the 2 tickets was doing great. I think I got that thing up to like 85 or something in profit. So it was fantastic. YOLO's going good so far. Now, the problem with the YOLO here is that my plan was to go YOLO every time I walked by the table. I thought every time I walk by the Stadium craps, I'm going to drop this YOLO ticket in. I'm going to bet it all across. I'm going to pull the ticket out. The problem is that the table was so popular, I could never find a spot to get into it. So in 2 days, I YOLO'd twice instead of probably 15 times that I could have when I walked by the damn thing. So I had this ticket with like $98 on it or something in my pocket for almost a full day before I can get back on that table to do it. I wasn't going to do it in the bubble craps machines. I wanted it to be a live roller. So the YOLO's going good at this point, but I'm missing out on opportunity because the table was so popular. So that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. On Monday was the big one. Oh my God, this day was so long. Monday, and just to be noted here, if you're counting my sleep hours, I went to bed at like 3 o'clock every night, and I got up at 5 or 6 most mornings to go to Paris and play with G-Dub. I worked on probably an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep every day. And my wheels were coming off here towards the end. Might explain why I'm so sick right now. Anyway, the craps crawl was awesome. I started out at Hollywood after breakfast. My YOLO went great. I won the YOLO, number 3. And then on the second ticket, I burned the whole thing. My second ticket to ride, I lost. I think I put that even in my live stream that morning. I lost the whole thing. I tried a 410 ladder and it just got hammered. Nobody hit a 4 or a 10 the whole time. I kept trying it and I laddered myself to 0. Bummer, $100 burned. But again, I wanted that $100 at that table to be strategy trials. So we got whacked. That was on the way out the door. And then I went to Paris. And I went to Paris and I played with G-Dub and lost $350. So out of the gate, I lost my ticket to ride. I go to Paris and I get burned for $350. I played pass line with max odds on myself and G-Dub like twice. And I got burnt, and there was 2 other people at the table. Hey, it's the mathematical way to play. Let's do it. Got my ass kicked for $350 that day. Not a good way to start the day, for sure. I was a little bit pissed off that I played that way, number 1, when I know I shouldn't have done it, and B, just that it was just that bad of a day. It happens. If you play with me, and that folks who did play with me will attest to this, I typically have pretty good rolls. My rolls are going to be between 9 and 15 all the time. I never hit my points. If I hit a point, it's a miracle. I usually will set a point and hit everything around it for 9 or 10 rolls, and then I 7 out. That's my typical pattern. I don't normally hit the point. So that's why I don't myself a lot. I only play the pass line because it covers my ATS. But on that day, I thought, let's try it. Did not work at all. So downtown we go, right? We go to downtown for the craps crawl. And this was the day that we did the Circa thing with Michael Feldman. After that was the craps crawl. My son flew in. He comes flying in at like 11 o'clock in the morning. He comes driving down to Fremont Street to meet me at about 12:30 or so. Everybody's playing at Binion's. Tables are packed. Can't even get on them. He and I walk down to the Grand because he wants to play $5. Off we go. He gets his ass handed to him in blackjack. Like handed to. He goes from 100 to 5 in like 0 time. And he's like, "Can you help me out here?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I bought in. I had like $60. I bought him for $60, and I doubled that thing in like 4 or 5 hands. Like I parlayed it up and I did my thing and I doubled it up and I'm like, "I'm out, Zach. I'm done. I got my 120. I'm done." He had worked himself back up to about $80 at that point, and when I tapped out, I'm like, "You need to be done, Zach." Like he went from $5 to 80. I'm like, you won $80. Like that's putting in work. He wanted to keep playing. I walked over to the craps table and just literally walked on the table. A person left. I took their spot. I got the dice. I rolled like a 17 or 18 roller, turned the 120 into 250 at a $5 table. Hit about 4 or 5 fives, I guess it was. That was the big number for me that day, and left. Like I was in the Grand for maybe 45 minutes and went from 60 to 250, and then gathered up Zach and off we went up to Binion's to see if there was room. And at Binion's, it was still rocking. I had missed Jeremy's big giant roll. By this point, the tables were doing great. I walked up, I played on Jacob from Wager Me This's table, and he and I were having some fun back and forth. He actually threw the dice and hit me in the arm, and one hit me in the face. I think he did it on purpose. I'm sure he did. We had fun together though. It was good. I actually won a lot. That was a great table for me. Again, I the only player there playing the don't was me, and it was not a great table for most people, but I won. I won 509 at that table. And again, that was 100% horseman and picking my spots. It was really good. I had a good roller there. I think it was about a 20-something roller. And I heard as I was rolling, somebody say 330 inside. I didn't know who it was. I thought it was Jacob, actually. It turns out that it was Chris from Sideshow Gamble. And Chris from Sideshow Gamble can chat to you what happened immediately after he said 330 inside. And while he's typing that in, Dr. S, there was two good rollers. Jeremy from Color Up had a 47. Carl, my co-trip, had a 50. There were three other people in the 30s. And for all those rolls, we documented them. So there had to be two witnesses and all that kind of thing before we can actually say it, that was a long roll. So none of mine qualified for sure. So there was that. Anyway, so yes, Chris from Sideshow Gamble may have gotten sniped by me after he put the 330 inside it. I may have thrown a 7 right away. So I'm really sorry about that, but I think he made it back. I went to the Fremont later on, had another 17 at the Fremont. Didn't get my hat. I'm never going to get a damn hat. I don't typically throw huge numbers. I'm consistent, right? I'm 9 to 15 all the time. I'm not a 30 roll guy. So that was the theme for me of the week. We came back. I did throw the red. Love for red, baby, right? Love for red. Came back to Planet Hollywood. I started a new ticket to Paradise, and I went back to YOLOing, and I got a couple more YOLO shots in that night. And we had the dinner that night with Color Up group at the D, and we went to Mystere. My family and I went and saw Mystere down at Treasure Island. Now, I'm going to give you all some advice. Midmo, yo, you here? Is Shiro here? This might be one of your here's the deal things. Okay, so here's the deal. I'll give you one. We were at dinner. At where were we? We went. Why were we at Paris? We were at Paris for some reason. Oh, we went to Eiffel Tower. That's why. We went to Paris to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower to see it. Down we come, and it was about, I don't know what time it was. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It was about probably 8:45 or so. We had to get to Mystere by 9:30. No big deal, right? Except my phone was at 1%. Zach's phone was at 0%. His phone had died. And I'm like, we're going to go run back to the room, which was literally 5 minutes away, not even 5 minutes away. And we'll see you guys at the theater, okay? Off my wife and daughter and sister go. Me and Zach go running into Planet Hollywood, drop our phones off, plug them in, and start heading out. Now, here's the thing. Kathy says to me, why in the hell are you charging your phone? We're going to be at the show. I'm like, but after the show, I'm going to be playing with friends. I want to make sure I can find them. My phone's got to have some charge to it. She rolls her eyes and says, okay, fine. So anyway, we come downstairs and we look down the street and we go, okay, TI's right there. Let's walk down. We'll just hoof it and we'll get there, right? Well, you know how that story ends, right? TI looks like it's 5 feet away from Planet Hollywood. It was a 43-minute walk. And by walk, I mean run. Me and Zach were running almost the whole time. And we were still late. Kathy had already gotten herself seated inside the theater. We had no way to get into the theater. We didn't have our tickets. We couldn't find a phone because our phones were charging. We couldn't get into the theater to find my wife. She had our tickets. Lo and behold, she has sent our tickets to our phones, which she knew we were charging them and didn't have them. But regardless, she's in the theater. The show is starting. Me and Zach are in the lobby and can't get in. So I found some random person, like some person like in a bookstore down there by the theater. Can I borrow your cell phone? And I called Kathy like 4 times to come let us in. And she finally gets up and lets us in, and she is pissed. Pissed because A, we didn't come with them instead of charging our phones, and B, why would we have walked? And I said, well, you can't Uber without a phone, right? So we had to walk. It was a shit show. Anyway, that walk crushed me. That was a long walk. I haven't done that much work in a long time. I think that's why I'm sick now. Anyway, Mystere was fantastic. It was good. And I played a little bit afterwards when we came back. Nothing major there. I think I did some. I think I might have done one more YOLO and a little bit of stadium play, but I was pretty beat. That walk pretty much took me out. All right, so then Tuesday comes, and on the stadium game, I won another $35. I did another YOLO in the morning. We went down to the Sahara. Actually, the structure that day was weird because we did the morning Planet Hollywood thing. Then I went out to Tony Leo's house, and I worked with Tony Leo for a couple of hours. From his place, I went to the Sahara to meet the whole Color Up crew, and here's the picture of the Sahara. those two tables down there, where I won some money. It was a tough table. They called it the slaughter table. I actually won some money on that table. Mostly just played the don'ts. Chris from Sideshow Gamble and I just really we didn't play. We just talked. We sat at the table. We were dropping don't pass bets out there, just talking. We talked for a couple hours, I guess, something like that. I barely paid attention to the game, just bullshitting, right? It was great. I think I had an okay roll there to break up that table was so ugly. My roll broke it up a little bit, and then it kind of got going. After the Sahara, I went to meet with VDC, Vegas Dice Controller, at his place, and did a little bit of a lesson talk with him as well. The problem was my phone ran out of gas again. I got stuck in the lobby at the Sahara for over an hour trying to get my phone to charge enough so I could call an Uber to get to his house. When I got to his house, we ended up going for 3 hours, and it bled. I didn't get done with him until about 7. I should have been there at 2:30 or 3. I got there at like 5:30. So it was a mess. I missed the whole closing ceremonies at Casino Quest because I was stuck in this weird Uber hell and out at Richard's house. My own mistake, no big deal. But I apologize to everybody for not being there. We came back and did the big wheel with the group, had a late dinner, and then I went YOLO crazy, okay? And when I say YOLO crazy, I went YOLO crazy because I was only at about 120 at this point. I YOLO'd like probably 4 or 5 times, and I knew we were leaving. And I'm like, what are we gonna do here? So I'm like, Zach, I'm gonna do it. He found a seat. There was a person next to him, got up and left. I sat down at the stadium craps. I'm like, Zach, I'm gonna YOLO on every shooter, and we're gonna see how this thing goes. So me and him and Shar, my sister-in-law, were there, and we start, right? And my pattern was let them establish a point, let them roll one number, one box number, and then I'm going to YOLO. And I did that for like 6 or 7 shooters in a row, maybe more than that. And I worked that 120 up to 680, okay? Which I'll show you here in a minute. There's the ticket. I'll show you how this all went down. Actually, I'll show you to you now. It went to 680. I worked that thing like 8 in a row. And but the last one that I did, it was like whatever it was. It was like, I don't know how much was on each number, $80 per number or something like that. And I was sweating it. I was like, okay, here we go. It's all out there, you know. And I'm like dancing around. I'm like covering my eyes, and I can't watch. And it was totally sweating it out for $60, right? Who cares? It was a $64 ticket, but you can see that I won 12 times. And I got to, it says here 667, but there was, a bunch of nickels and change and whatever else. It ends up being 680. At this point, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning. And I had to get up to meet Michael Feldman at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, well, I got to go to bed. I got to get at least an hour of sleep. So I stopped YOLOing. I went to bed, got up in the morning, went to Paris. Me and Michael didn't hook up. He overslept. I couldn't get with him. We came back, and that's when I sent you all the note. Should I play crapless? Should I play bubble craps? Or go to bed? Because I had the YOLO ticket in my hand right there. And I'm like, I was ready to YOLO again over at the thing. It was closed. I could have dumped the $700 on the crapless table, or I could have just went to bed. I decided to go to bed. And I got a few more hours of sleep instead. That was the day we were leaving, so I got up and I cashed the ticket out. I could have done the YOLO per shooter earlier in my trip and probably had this ticket be worth $1,500 or more the way that I was doing with it. But as it stands, I'll take 12 wins in a row. That's pretty stout. And there it is. So that was the YOLO was actually a big part of my win. I won 680 on that damn thing. And Bubble Craps, the second ticket to ride, I won another 120. So that's not a bad takeaway from that thing, for sure. Overall, where'd my picture go? Overall, where's my camera? There we go. So overall, the YOLO ticket, I won 680. At the stadium craps, just farting around, I won $120. That could have been $1,000 had I paid attention. And on table craps, of all those sessions, I won 735. I went down 350. The one time I went down 350 was the one time I had to dip in and get a new $500 out to play with, but quickly replaced that. And I played on basically the same $500 buy-in, 20 sessions over the course of 4 days, which was great. So we ended up coloring up about $1,500 out of 500. Awesome. The expenses, meals, Lyft crushed me, man. Lyft was expensive. We did rides. We did the Mystere show. My wife and kids did a comedy show, the hotels and flights and water. And by the way, pro tip here, at Planet Hollywood, there's a place called ABC Stores that were selling liters of water, 2 for $2. So we bought a bunch of that to kind of keep in our rooms to keep ourselves hydrated. Net, we're down about $1,800 for the 4 days. I'll take that, right? That's about what you'd expect to pay for a trip out anyway with the family, right? So that was actually that was good. So that was a good, I think, outcome money-wise for the trip. I could have done a lot better, right? And as I'm look back and think about things, could I have bought in for $1,000 each time? And if I would have done that, I would have had higher bet levels and I would have doubled this output for sure. But again, I was playing the long game. I knew I had to last 20 sessions or at least 10 sessions. And I wanted to make sure I didn't have a bad first day and have nothing for the week. So I inched into it to make sure I could last. I played the long game and it worked out for me. And as you know, I'm a pretty conservative player most of the time, and this worked out pretty good. So let's see, what else do we have to talk about? My takeaways. How did people color up? I said this on my morning show. There wasn't a person there that said, I colored up or I won because my strategy was great. Nobody talked about how great the Iron Cross worked for him. Nobody talked about, one person did talk about the 410 Bank Street, which won. Nobody talked about come bets with odds, making them all their money, right? Everybody that won a lot was there for a 47 roller, which if you can't make money on a 47 roller, you're playing the wrong game. They all hit the ATS, right? Jacob had a hard way. He hit the hard 4, parlayed it, and hit it again, right? That was an enormous win for him, right? Carl will tell you, my co-trip, he went on tilt while he was drunk one night and bet $50 on the 2 and the 12 and hit them both, okay, on the crapless table, okay? That's where the folks who colored up and had the banana chip porn, that's where most of it comes from. It's not from strategy, right? Which is interesting. Now, people may have had great strategy, but they didn't brag about it or talk about it, which I think is good fodder for me for the morning show, because we know that there's no strategy that's going to make you a fortune. You got to catch luck, right? I played in a way all week long. I caught 0 mega rolls. The biggest rolls that I caught were my own that were 15 and 17. And I made money the entire way through. I'll take that slow and steady wins the race. And if I happen to have been there on one of the rolls, I would have been able to capitalize. But to me, knowing that the way to win isn't what we think it is, right? It's you got to catch it. And the ATS, everybody's talking about their ATS wins, but that's not playing craps. That's being there for somebody's lucky roll. So anyway, I watched a lot of people do regression systems. I watched a lot of people do huge presses. Which was fun. Watching people power press and do really aggressive pressing was good to watch and see it happen. I liked watching the dealers do their thing. It was a shame to watch them lose that money, but it was fun to watch some of that. I was waiting to get onto a table, and there was a guy betting at the purple level ahead of me. And just watching that guy play was fun to watch because he really knew the game. He knew what he was doing. It was interesting. He wasn't just a high roller who was just throwing money out there. He actually had a plan. It was kind of fun. 80% of the rolls were garbage, as you can well imagine. And I really enjoyed the $25 tables better than the $5 tables, a lot more. Matter of fact, one of my plans moving forward is to spend more of my time at the $25 strategy level than the $5 level. I found myself at the $5 level dinking and dunking for hours and getting nowhere. Like you're just, it's great. You're leveling up and your units, you're winning a bunch of units, which is nice, but at the end of the day, it's $45. And buying in for $500 at a $5 table winning $45 isn't going to cut it. So I enjoyed the higher levels a little more than I thought I would. Being forced to do it makes you kind of, I guess, knock some of the rust off there. So there's that. I saw a couple of good questions in here. Oh yes, the profit went right back to the 401g. You know that. It goes right back in there. It's pretty cool. Pull out $5,000 from your account and deposit $6,500 after a trip to Vegas. You feel like you're a champ. That's a pretty good thing. You know what? We talked about this, about car rentals, and I think we should have a serious talk about this for those of you guys going to Vegas. The problem with renting a car is this: 1, gas is expensive. 2, every casino charges you to park. So, and it's by the hour. So if I were to go from, the Strip down to Fremont Street and park like a Binion's lot, that would have cost me $60 to park there, right? Depending on hours and everything else, versus a $25 Uber ride down and back. And I figured it would be easier to do the Ubering. I thought I was going to be in the same place longer. We ended up Ubering all over the freaking place, and it cost us a fortune. I think the paying to park thing makes that argument go away now because you got to pay, which kind of sucks. So let's see. What else do I want to say to you? My other takeaways. Looking ahead. All right. I'm going to start optimizing my table craps play for less than 5 rolls because, again, we know this. This is not rocket science, right? Most rolls are less than 5. And for $25 levels. I'm going to start optimizing way more for higher level. Same buy-in, $500 buy-in, $25 minimums, 5 rolls or less. I'm going to start optimizing short game strategies because that's the way you win this game. Everything I did that worked was short term. It was the horseman. It was a point. Number 7, point 7, point number 7. That's where all the money got made for me, honestly. The couple of times that I hit the 17 or 18 rollers, fine. I pressed up and I got down in a good area there. But most of the time, I made money on them short runs. And even when I was on the right side, it was still 3 hits and out for me. I mean, it was just, that's where it was. I'm also going to optimize strategies now for the stadium craps. If $5 aggregate betting or minimums is going to be a thing, then working bets where you're at the $1 level and making that thing work at that little table, there's a lot of money to be made on those bubble and stadium craps machines. The stadium craps, especially because the long rolls are controlled by people, not by the computer. I think the bankroll play, because again, if bankroll is your hammer, I always get on Wayland because I'm like, dude, I love your strategies, but I don't bring $10,000 to the casino. I can't afford to play at the black chip level and ladder shit up. I don't have that kind of money. At the bubble craps machine or at the stadium craps machine, my $500 at $1 minimum bets feels like it's $50K, right? And I can use my bankroll as a hammer on those tables with those little minimums. I think that's the thing we can be exploring because that right there is very accessible to almost everybody's budget. And all the strategies that we do, there's no limit to them because you're not going to hit table limit on there is $5,000. You start at $1 and you hit $5,000, you've done something wrong by pressing shit. I think that's a thing we should be exploring as a group. So there it is. Louis asked me this, was there any team play? There was no official team play. This was not that kind of a thing. GW and I played together quite a bit, so we got to know each other's throws and we were betting on each other kind of accordingly. However, most of the people there were not, whatever, like dice controllers or team players, whatever you want to call it. It was literally just us going and having a good time. It was like 80 friends going to, have, as Jim the professor would say, let's go have a couple of $300 Diet Cokes and have a good time. And there was a lot of high-fiving and hugging and shaking hands and just having a sweet old time and not worrying quite so much about the business of craps, which made it fun. That's why like playing like I did, like horseman-ish kind of play was good because it was easy to not to think about it and be able to hang out and do the thing. So I thought it was a good way to hang. So there's that. Let's see. What else are we being asked here? Any other questions? I'm going to search for cues here and see if there's anything else that I'm missing. And then let's see. DiceCon will be an annual event. Yes, for sure. Jeremy's already negotiating with places for next year. We learned some lessons. Obviously, it's hard to wrangle 80 people. It's hard to have things like where you can all play because there's 80 people, right? Bingans did a great job of hosting us. They gave us a reserve table. Sahara gave us a reserve table. But again, there were still 40, 50 people wanting to play. It was hard. The best restaurant this trip, probably Gordon Ramsay Burger. And I'm not, we didn't eat out fancy this time. We did the Ramsay Burger. We did eat at the steakhouse at the D. That was a great meal. I should probably qualify that. The D dinner was the best for sure. That steak, you can't beat a steakhouse, right? Steakhouse meals are awesome. But as far as like our day to day, the burger was great. Gordon Ramsay was a great place. I think that's all I got. Let me see here. Oh, my regrets. I got to give my regrets. There's a bunch of regrets, right? I didn't play enough with Jacob. Jacob was there. It was great to hang out with Jacob from Wager Me This. He's such a cool dude. We talked a little bit here and there, but it's busy and everybody wants to say hello. So he was great. I didn't get to play enough with him, and when I did, we were on opposite sides of the table, so we never got to really talk. Whereas Chris from Sideshow and I were side by side, and we got quality couple hours in, which was great. I wish I had that with Jacob. Jeremy, I never played with. It was impossible. He's a magnet, right? Everybody's going to play with Jeremy. And other members, there was 80 people there. I played with the same group, it seemed like, a lot. I did play a lot with, with Buckeye once. I played a lot with Holy Roller. And some other guys, we just kind of gravitated toward each other, but I didn't get a chance to play with the whole group. A lot of people I didn't even get to meet, believe it or not. So that was hard. I didn't get a chance to meet with Charlie from Drunk Guy Explains. He flew out from North Carolina, or from Georgia, I guess. And because I missed the closing event at Casino Quest, because I was at VDC's house so late, I never got to meet Charlie. And that was a huge miss on my part. I talked to him on the phone today. Actually, we had a great conversation, and I apologized profusely for not getting to see him. I meant to meet with Steen from Windcraps. That didn't work out. Again, timing-wise, not enough hours in the day to see Steen. I had plans to meet Jason from Sin City Living to have actual coffee with him, buy him a coffee in person. We couldn't make it work. His kids are in school, and it's kind of hard to get things to work right with his work schedule and that. Next time I'm in town, those are people I'm going to be meeting for sure. JR, one of our subscribers, Vegas resident. There's other locals that I know too that I didn't get a chance to hook up with. And I feel terrible because, you don't get to town but once or twice a year. And I'd love to meet everybody, but there's just, like I said, I stayed awake all but 2 hours or 3 hours every day. And it crushed me when I got home. I mean, I was out for about 13 hours yesterday when we got back in. Next time we go, it won't be with as big of a group, and I can do some better planning and meet folks because I want to hang out with everybody who lives in Vegas. I guess, like I said, I have to move there. Yeah, that's I think the whole report. And I'll leave it here, I guess, open at the end here if you guys want some questions. I'll leave with this funny picture. This is a picture from actually inside of our hotel room, our hotel hallway. The sign says exit. The door says not an exit. I think that's pretty damn funny. But anyway, that's it. So whatever questions you've got, you can drop them out there for me in the chat. If we don't get to them here, that's totally fine. I'm sure we'll cover some questions in Craps Chat on Sunday. I'm sure this will be a hot topic because I was there. I saw everything that I could see. But we had good. This is a greght question from Big AZ. Jeff Mac is a giant. But again, I'm also not very tall. I'm 5'9" on a good day. I used to be like almost 5'11". I've had a back surgery and I'm old and I'm shrinking. Jeff is every bit of 6'3", so he makes me look small. There's a picture somewhere, I don't know where it is, of Zach and I playing. We're on Fremont Street. Actually, if I go back a few screens, I might have a picture. Let me see. This shot here, the guy in the back left, the tall kid with the beard, that's my son Zach. If you can see him there. Zach is also a big tall guy, right? Zach is every bit of 6'4". So I'm the shrimp of the group. Nobody else was shocking. I guess no. I was really kind of surprised by that. SJ Young the third. By SJ Young the third, taller than I figured he was going to be. Christmas Sideshow Gamble looks like to me. No, John is not tall at all. That's funny. Whatever, Chris. Whatever. You look like, and I never asked this, Chris, but you look like you were probably a wrestler or a judo guy. You had that wiry kind of build, like you could tie me up in a knot. One of those kind of whatever guys. Yeah, it was cool. Doctor, I like downtown way better. I like to casino hop a little bit. I get bored quickly, so I prefer downtown so I can jump around. I like the table at the Fremont. So that's a lot of fun for me. So I would prefer downtown. My wife prefers the Strip because she likes a little more comfortable. She likes the restaurants that are up there. She likes that vibe. So for me, it's like, take a trip to Fremont Street versus, we'll probably as a family never stay there. If I go by myself, I will stay there for sure. I knew it. I knew you were that. You had that you're definitely the You're definitely the judo wrestler type. Oh, you didn't see the picture? Hold on, let me go. Oh, I know why, because my face was still showing it. Let me go back. Here, let me go back over here to this one. And if I turn my camera off, hold on. There you go. Zach's in the back. So this, by the way, I should have said this before. This scene up top here, you'll see that the guy on the left with the beard, the tall guy, that's my son Zach. He's, like I said, he's 6'4". This guy, this guy with the microphone on top, they did like this street acrobatics type of thing, and they were calling people up to be in a line. They could do a trick with us all. I was filming this, and he called me up there. So they had Zach in the front, and he did it in descending order of height, and I was, of course, the short guy in the front, short bald guy in the front of the line. There's a video of us all dancing together with this guy. That was so much fun. That was a great part of the trip. You never get to be involved in one of those things, but we helped raise like about, I don't know, probably $200 for these guys because they were obviously wanting donations. So it was fun. We had a good time there. It was all good. I think, to me, the takeaways from these things always are the gambling is great. It's good to make money. To me, I liked testing strategies out in small scale on that little machine. I love walking out with a profit, as you know. But more than anything else, hanging out with the group, meeting all the people that I did get to meet, playing with the people I wanted to play with and spend time with was great. We learned a lot to do. Jeremy will do this again next year and have a great time with it. Yeah, it was fun. It was a great trip, but totally worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Obviously, I will. And, next time I go out there, I'll probably do some house hunting. I'm looking for, we might live in Vegas someday. We might live in Reno someday. We're going to be exploring options there. One thing I have determined for sure, absolute certain, is that I definitely want to be a dealer. Like I joke about this on my show, in the morning show. Absolutely have to be a dealer. Dealers that are good are fun. You all know this, right? The dealers that are having a good time are having a good time. And that vibe you get with a dealer is great. I love this game so much. I could deal it and enjoy it and never play it again. I would have just as much fun dealing as I would playing it my whole life. This confirmed it. I played 20 different times and was dealt to by probably 60 or 70 different dealers over the course of the last 4 days. And all but 2 of them were great. And has had a lot of fun. And I mean, that looks like a hell of a fun job. If I could afford to live on it, I would do that in a second. And it's confirmed for me that I want to live where it's sunny and I want to be a dealer. So at some point I will be dealing to y'all when you come visit me in Vegas or Reno or somewhere else. So I think that's all that I've got. Yeah, haha, Joe. It's funny. My wife's side is big, right? My wife's side, they're all super tall people. My family is all Greek and Italian shorties, right? So definitely he got the height from her. He got the look from me for sure. My daughter is every bit of 5'2", so she got that from me for sure. Dice Dot, I did get to spend time with Tony Leo. Tony Leo was great. I know there's people that don't like the fact that Tony Leo charges for services and that kind of thing. Tony was one of the most, how do I say this the right way? Respectful, professional, just real people I've met. He was awesome. Tony was his videos are his personality. I mean, he calls it like it is. He's a New York guy. He calls it like he sees it. But I can tell you this: when I was down at his place, members of his group, of his clients and stuff, they call him whenever they want to. He answered the phone 4 or 5 times while I was there, and talked to people. And like, okay, he was like counseling them. Like, what did you see? What happened? How did you feel about that? Well, what adjustments can you make? And he was working with them on the phone at a moment's notice. And he says, I call everybody to check on them. Like, he's all in on his people. He's not like, let me have your money and, screw off. I'll see you, in the sunset. He's like invested like family with his customers. And I think that was the most impressive thing of all of it to me. Not his system is interesting. He's interesting. But the fact that he runs that like a family, I found that so refreshing. And you can call him, and people do call him names all the time. I won't accept that because he's a great human. And he runs the business like a family, and he treats his customers like family. And I was very impressed by that. Now, whether you believe in what he's selling, a whole different thing, right? But I could not be any more impressed by him as a man. So that's what I got to say about Tony. Tony was great. I would like to spend more time with him. I think he sounds like the kind of guy you'd want to sit down and shoot the breeze with for longer than I even did. So great dude. I really like him. And for what it's worth, it isn't like he's charging people for new stuff. Like everything he's charging for, he gives away for free on the website. It's just you're getting more of it and more access. Like he's a really solid dude. I was very impressed by Tony. Very impressed. Yeah, Big AZ. I know Arizona might be the perfect place. I got a lot of friends down there. You know, I just want weather. You know, I just cannot do the weather up here. And here's Jeremy right on cue, hearing me talk a bitch about Seattle again. Jeremy, I glad that you're here. It was a good recap. I kind of told my pathway through it. I missed a lot of the great stuff. I missed your role. I missed some of the things because I was bouncing around so much. So much to see. What a great event. So I think Jeremy, now that he can hear me say it, deserves all the credit in the world for putting this thing together. You have no idea. I have no idea what it takes to put any kind of an event together of this magnitude with people from all over the world actually coming into town, getting events figured out, getting the swag bags put together, getting all of it put together was ridiculously cool. I can't even speak to the level of work that him and his family put into this thing to make it great. And on that note, let me show you something. I'm going to switch to a view. I'm going to go to my table real quick and show you my stuff because I forgot to earlier before I get out of here. Here's the swag central. So in the swag bag, we got from Jeremy, we got the koozie, we got wrist bracelets. We got, of course, our lanyards. We have T-shirts. We got buttons, stickers, right, and a great commemorative chip for the event, which is cool. People are big into chip collecting. I didn't know how big of a thing this was. Look at all these chips. I was able to trade my Pro Craps chips for all of these amazing chips that folks have collected from the casinos over the years. Some of these I got myself. I got the Paris chip myself when I was at Paris, but look, I got about 20 chips here from folks that just traded them in. Some really cool ones. There's one from Austria in here. A couple from casinos that no longer exist are in there, which was great. We also got the trade chips with subscribers. So here's G-Dub's chip. Here is, who's this one? This one is, my glasses, I can't see without my glasses, hold on. Sorry. This is S.J. Young's chip. This is Patty's chip. Here's Gorn, Ace. Mr. Gorn, by the way, is a longtime Color Up member. We say you got Gorned because in the tournaments, he always seems to find a way to take your money. That's his amazing chip. Here's Dice DJ's chip, which came in the mail while I was gone, and Midmo Yo's chip, which came in the mail while I was gone. Now, those are all here. While I was there, I picked up these, and everybody's been asking for them. There they are. There are 600 Lammers, 300 in white, 300 in black, and I got my Pro Craps chips finally. So I got the giveaway Pro Craps chips. I can show these to you. There is the, I'll try and get it to you. There's the front side, there's the back side with the 20% on it. So if you want a chip, all you gotta do is email me, john@procraps.net. I'll get you a chip in the mail. Of these Lammers will eventually make for sale somehow. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna ship them out there, but these are not cheap. I will have to make some kind of a charge for those things. Additionally, I gotta show this off, and this will be the last thing I show you. Tito painted this picture. I hope you guys can see this. Tito Haggard painted this. This is a print of a painting that he did. Somehow he paints this with a scraper. And this is somebody, you see the crap stick and the crap stable there. Very abstract, very, very cool. So I walked out of DiceCon here with an amazing set of chips for my collection. This one-of-a-kind print from Tito. Some great swag from Jeremy, and finally Lammers that I can start giving away and some chips. So from a swag standpoint, it all worked out well, and I can actually probably load up my I have a little collector's case here, the normal poker case. So here's where all the chips the casino chips go here, and on the other side of it go all of my chips from my YouTube friends are all here in this middle section here. And yeah, so there's that. I think that's all I got. A couple more questions before we go, but we got, hopefully in 15 minutes, a Friday Night Fights cage match coming, I think, right? There should be a match coming up because I think we're going to be, I think we're going to be doing a Friday night fight here in a few minutes. So what other questions do you have before I get out of here? Wow, the question screen got big. Let's see. What toss did I use? I used the chopper all weekend. That's the only one that I feel any kind of confidence with at this point. So it works for me. And again, it's, you know me, I'm steady Eddie with that thing. So it's my comfort zone, and whether it's random or not, doesn't matter. I feel like it's a good thing. So, yeah, I think I don't think any more questions or comments. So why don't we go ahead and call it? Oh, Gustav, I'll put it here in chat. It's john@procraps.net. I'll spell it out for you like that. There's the email address, john@procraps.net. Gets right to me. Better yet, go to my Discord channel. If you go to casinogaming.tv, just sign up for Discord. If you're part of Color Up's channel, you're already in Discord. Just choose my thing, and then you can just drop me a direct message in there. That's even easier. Come into Blackhawk. Don't know yet. We're actually have 2 trips coming up. My mouse isn't working, but I got 2 trips coming up to Colorado. One for a concert at Red Rock. I think it's in September. One's to see our friends at Grand Junction. So I don't know when they're both happening, but at one of those 2 times, we're going to be with you at Blackhawk for sure. Cool. All right. Yeah, Ciro, I'm glad, I don't just run down what I played and how much I won. I like to give flavor to it. So hopefully the flavor was good and you liked it. An hour worth of that is probably enough for anybody to handle. So there it is. I think it's going to be it. I'm going to take another sip of tea. I got to go and set up the screens now for the Friday night fight. So with that said, everybody, thanks for joining me here on the wrap up. I appreciate your time always, right? I appreciate your time always. And again, send your friends to the channel. Tell them to do the thing, right? To subscribe to us. Helps it grow, helps get the word out. And yeah,